Hello everybody and welcome to Creativity Time. My name is Tatiana and I'm from Tatiana Creative Stamping Adventure and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia. I do live videos to inspire people to consider paper crafting. It is such a wonderful hobby to have. It's so relaxing and fun, and what's awesome about when you make cards is that you can send that creation to somebody and brighten their days. Hello Tanya, thanks for joining me. I really love sending cards and hearing back from the people I've sent them to saying that they were just having a bit of a crappy day and the card just brightened their day and made their day. So isn't that just an amazing feeling to affect someone? And I really love Simon Sinek, and he talks about how an act of kindness not only affects the person who receives the kindness, it also affects the person who does the kindness. It just brings beautiful endorphins, I think it was. Anyway, enough ranting. I have a new stamp set. I wasn't going to buy it this month in pre-order, but I had to. It's Snowflakes. I love snowflakes. I just had to have it. So let's head to the craft desk and stamp some snowflakes and make 2 cards today. We're going to do the floating frame technique. Okay, let's head on over. As I have already said, we are going to use the Snowflake Wishes. I've got a feeling I need to be, yes, oops, I didn't prepare. So let's, I didn't prepare for nominations from my last live because it's been so long. So I will do that drawing out next time. Hello, Amanda, nice of you to see. Nice to see you join me. Ugh. Can't speak. I should take a sip of water and just... Okay. Remember, please put a nomination in the comments below if you'd like me to send this card to somebody in the mail just to brighten their day. It's my little Share Sunshine initiative, I guess you could say. Anyhow, this is the Snowflake Wishes stamp set. It is coming out as of August 4th. It is part of the new August to December mini catalogue, and I always love the snowflake bundles. I always get the snowflakes. I can't help myself. I am aware that I don't live somewhere where there's snow, but I love it. It's something magical. Hi Renee, and I really love this sentiment. Thank you so much. Like, how cute is that? There's lots of wonderful. Our friendship is one of a kind. I love that. Snowflake wishes for a Merry Christmas. Just lots of wonderful things to say. Anyhow, so as I've said, we're going to do the floating frame technique. And for that, you need some die cuts. And I've done the die cutting. And I should bring in the dies, shouldn't I? So the Snowflake Wishes has so many snowflake dies that coordinate with it, and these are the dies, and some of them cut out the snowflakes that you can stamp, some of the snowflakes, and then others cut out snowflakes, and then this beautiful one which we'll leave later. Oh, and then it has 2 more snowflakes in there, so lots of snowflakes, lots and lots of snowflakes. And I've die cut the ones that cut out, I've die cut the ones, yes, I said that right, cut out snowflakes that you stamp. Now I'm just going to find, okay, that's that one. And we're going to stamp. So this is my favorite trick when it comes to stamping bits that need to be die cut. I use my Stamparatus and I pre-die cut and then I stamp onto them. And then the third one is this one. And what makes this easier is I can just put the die cuts down and die cut anywhere, and then when I stamp, then I know that these will line up on the die cut perfectly, and I'll show you how right now. First thing is I need a piece of grid paper. Had a bit of a lazy morning. Well, I needed to eat my breakfast. Breakfast is important. Okay, so I've got my paper and I'm going to place my magnet there in the corner. Now this is scrap of what I used to die cut, and I'm going to kind of spread them out so that I could cut these bits separately. This will all make sense as you see me putting it together. And now I'm going to kind of place them where I would like them. And I'm going to put the stamp in. So I've put the stamp facing downward, so as if I'm stamping through the negative, just so that I can place it roughly on these, and then we will be able to grab them with our stamping plate of the Stamparatus. Okay. Hello Renee and Chris, thank you for joining me. Okay. Don't worry about things moving at this point. It's all good. So now I'm going to remove those. I've got my stamps down. I'm going to take balmy blue ink and ink these up. So the idea is that I should be able to ink all 3 snowflakes and stamp all 3 snowflakes at the same time. It is a little sticky at the moment because it's the first time I'm using the stamp set. Now I take my negative spaces again and line them up exactly. Now there's 2 ways to do this. You can use a magnet to hold these in place, which is great, or I'm going to use some, oh that's the plus, I don't want to use the plus. I'm going to use the Stamp and Seal. So this is just the regular runner. It's replacing the, what's it called? The snail. And that way I know it's not going to move. So I'll line that up exactly perfectly over the stamped image. Now I know that the stamp isn't moving off my plate, and now I know that this is perfectly aligned. And I'll do that with all 3. Don't have to glue them down, you can hold them down with magnets. I've just found that it's easier when I stick these down to the cardstock, to the grid paper. You could use a glue dot, you could use your liquid glue, it doesn't really matter. I'm just using the Stamp and Seal because it's easy. I better put that lid on. There we go, and now we can pop our die cuts into place. So there's a little bit of prep work, but frankly I think this is so much easier than stamping and then trying to align the die around the stamped image, particularly when you want to stamp more than one. Perfect placement every time, just like Monica has just said. Exactly, Monica. And it's quite fun. I did this last night. I was making some Christmas cards. Yes, Christmas in July, to send out with my August catalogue, or August to December mini catalogue. Isn't that a mouthful? I liked it when it was called the holiday catalogue. So much easier to say. And I was stamping poinsettias. And this is exactly what I did. So easy, so quick, and just give that a good rub to transfer. And these stamps are tonal, so you can see that there's tonal variation, and I love that. Love, love, love that. And this little one, and what's good is that because I didn't use the magnet, this is why I kind of like sticking it down, because I didn't use the magnet, I can lift the page up if I need to pop the piece out. So this is perfect at Christmas time when you're making multiple cards. It's awesome. It's kind of like no thinking stamping. Where's that little one? Did I not put a little one in? Looks like I didn't put a little one in. Oh well. Got a few extra of the little ones because I thought they would be good fillers. These big beautiful snowflakes are lovely, but they'll take up a lot more space. Now just a few more little ones, and then we're on our way to assemble to create our floating frame card. Now one of them will definitely have "Thank you so much." And I think the other one we're going to use the sentiment, "Our friendship is one of a kind." But we don't have to create. That's what I love about the stamp set this year. It's not just about holiday or Christmas or though it has Happy Hanukkah, so for all my Jewish friends out there, the stamp set's got you covered as well. Good evening, Cheryl from Calgary. Yes, well, you get to see a bit more snowflakes than I do, though, being in Calgary. So, but, yep, I gotta say, I love the snowflakes. We're not going to the snow this year. And to be honest, I'm happy about that. It's a lot of work going to the snow. It's beautiful, but man, it's not a holiday. All the skiing and the soreness and anyway. I do find snowflakes calming. I agree, Cheryl. Oh, look, that one even picked up with the stamp. Two more. One. And two. So this is Balmy Blue cardstock, something I hadn't mentioned, and I'm stamping with Balmy Blue ink. So it's very blue snowflakes. And I'm just going to clean this all up. Thanks to my chamois this morning, so it's nice and clean. I'm going to put that to the side. That's all we need from our stamp apparatus for now. Actually, I just covered the plate of my die cutting machine. Not a good idea. Now it's time to arrange. What I'm going to do is take a piece of Whisper White. This has been cut 10 centimeters by 14.3 centimeters. It's 5 millimeters smaller than my standard, well, Australian standard card size. And I'm going to start arranging the snowflakes. Have them hanging off the edge. Start with the bigger ones and then kind of fill in the spaces with the little ones. I feel like we need 3 different big ones, but 2 is all we're getting. Yep, like that. And then little one there. Move that, a little one there. Wasn't sure how many I needed. If I move that one over, I can fit another one there. And there. It's basically just filling that space, particularly within the white square. Oh, I know, Cheryl, I have actually been to Calgary twice. So I am aware of the snow dangers. Fabulous. I'm happy with that placement. And now the thing we need is this wonderful product, the Press and Seal. Now it's not readily available in Australia, but you can find it at Costco. And Costco, well, last time, I don't actually have a Costco membership, but my godmother does. And she picked me up 3 boxes. Oop, that wasn't very straight cutting. I'm just going to trim this bit off. And it was pretty good value. They're very large boxes. This box that I'm using today is one that I brought back from New Zealand. Okay, so now there's 2 sides to the Press and Seal. There's one side that's sticky, the other side that's not. So you want to place the sticky side down, and you want to capture your die cuts in the position that they are. So, and before I'm going to peel the Whisper White off, I'm grabbing a pencil and I'm just going to draw lines, approximation of where the snowflakes sit on the card front for us to know where to put our dimensionals. But peel that back, and now we have a beautiful panel. Now before we continue, we're going to cut a circle out. So I've done a floating frame before, but Tina Giuseppe, I think is her, I've printed this off from Pinterest. I really love how she's done the multiple layers in the circles. So I'm going to do something similar. So we're going to cut a big circle out first. And for this, we're going to use our layering circle dies. But before I decide which one, I want a largish circle, and I'm going to layer it later on with one of these. So if I cut it out, those 3, yep. Okay, so these are just, I've die cut all of my circles from the layering so that I can work out visually which ones I want. So that'll be used on the card, and then we'll cut this circle out. Tina had hers in the middle. I'm actually going to do my little favorite positioning of to the side. Off to the side, something about there. And now I'm going to look for the correct die. Monica, if you're referring to pre-cutting out your circles so that you can work out, it really helps. I did alternating colors so that when they're stacked, I can visually see. But yeah, one of the best things I spent time on. I'm just making sure that I've got that positioned approximately where I would like it. Yep, about there. Bring this in here, and just gotta hold it in place. So now, before I'm sticking it down, I'm kind of looking at what I'm capturing. If you look here, I'm going to cut a tiny bit off that snowflake. So I either move it up or move it down so that I'm not capturing that end there. And I'm going to move it down because it works better for this snowflake here, so that it's not slicing a tiny little bit, because that's going to make it hard to place. And now I'm going to transfer all of this to my die cutting sandwich. And speaking of witches, we started reading The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. And Little Miss is very keen to find out when the witch comes into the story. Slow your horses. There we go. Now we have, see, this is what I mean by little slithers. I got one there, but that's okay. Now we have this part for a card front, and that's okay, we don't need those, that was coming off the edge anyway. And we have this part for a card front. And what did I say? We're going to cut this circle out for that to be placed on. So let's start with that. We want this circle, bigger, not that one. That's this circle, and I'm going to cut that out from Whisper White with the die. The circle will not cut. Ouch. Something pricked my finger. That will go on that, and behind that we will place the scallop, and that is that one, and we're going to cut it from the new Balmy Blue glitter paper. How awesome is that? Love it. Bing, bang, boom. So we won't layer that yet. We will flip this one over, and we will add dimensionals. I'm going to use the mini dimensionals because I think they're going to fit a lot better. It's so sparkly, Tanya, I agree. Now I will be trimming some of this off, so, but I will do it as one big trim of that. So we'll just stick it down completely. This is probably the most time-consuming part of the floating frame card, is putting the dimensionals down. Even though I'm using minis, I'm going to have to cut them. There we go. So that I have this is going to all sit on the card. Now, even though I've got my markings there of cutting it off, I'm going to not put dimensionals on that little bit and have that bit as the bit that we're going to cut off, because it's so small that I'm never going to get dimensionals onto it. There we go, and I want one there, a little bit there. I think that one, I don't know. It's almost tempting to put some on there, but that should be okay. I could have used the, ooh, that would have been an idea. Could have used the, could have die cut some snowflakes out of the adhesive foam sheets and put them on. That's something to think about next time. Might need a little bit just there. That one's hanging off, so I'll just trim that off. And there's no point wasting this little dimensional. the next tricky bit, well not tricky bit, tedious bit, is peeling off the backing and making sure I've peeled it off from all of them. So it's always a good idea to be systematic in the way you do this. One snowflake at a time. And you know that you've peeled it off if it's not sticky. And now, this one's easy to just flip. Try to center. Oh, not quite. Not quite centered. No, 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 don't come off. I didn't center that. Come back. Come back, come back, come back. Oh dear. Okay, I'm going to have to go with it. I was going to say, it's probably better to flip it, the paper onto it, than do what I just did. But anyway, now we can peel the press and seal off, and they are now floating on this frame, which is a little off-centered. That's okay, it's okay. We will trim it. So I'm going to glue that down and let it dry before we do the trimming. So there's one part. Now, repeat again on this side. And we've marked where the cardstock is, or where the cardstock would go, should I say. And that will make it easier for placement of the dimensional. So I can use big ones here, and here, and here. That's about it. And now flip to the minis. We know we don't need to go beyond that pencil mark, which is handy to know. And then the pencil mark will also guide where to place the paper when it comes to that part. One in the middle. I do think that if I cut out the foam adhesive, it would be a lot easier. Oh, that one's outside. Too late. We're all very quiet again today. We had a lovely rest of our school holidays, just chilling, hanging out as a family. Not much crafting though. That's the only bummer about the school holidays for me, so I don't get to craft as much. Particularly when I don't do the lives. And I'm going to cut some in half with the tips of that big snowflake. Where'd it go? That one, the backing's come off already. That's okay. This one needs... over here. We're almost done. One over here. And oh, got two stuck to my fingers. One here. And not to waste it, we'll put it right there. Now, once again, that one comes off, so that's okay. Take the backing off, and I'm just working snowflake at a time so that I know that I don't. Ha ha ha. Tanya, you make me laugh. Tanya looks forward to making Christmas cards while listening to Michael Bublé. It's her little tradition. Well, technically I'm not making Christmas cards today. We're making friendship cards. And speaking of friendship, don't forget to nominate someone to receive this card in the mail from you and me to brighten a friend, family members' day. So it can be anyone, as long as they're in Australia. So I'm limiting my postings to Australian residents, Australian addresses only. Me think I hear the mailman. Did you see the picture I shared yesterday with the paper and ribbon share for my team and I? Believe it or not, that's not all of it. Some of the ribbon, 3 bolts of ribbon were sent separately the very next day. So I wonder if that is what I'm hearing. Oakley dokley. Almost there. Last snowflake to go. You're so excited. It's going to take me a while to cut though. I've got to say, I've never had that much paper to cut before. But it will be fun. I agree. Okay, so now I want Whisper White. I've got my Whisper White pre-cut right here. And based on my pencil markings from before, I'm going to place the Whisper White down onto the snowflakes as so. And now we can just make sure that they're all stuck down before we peel back the, what's it called, press and seal. I forgot what it's called. Just slowly, carefully peel it back. There we go. Oops. Got a little too stuck to that one. And there we have it. Now we can flip and trim off excess. So I'm simply using my paper snips and I'm using the Whisper White paper as a guide, not the pencil markings. The pencil markings were just rough for placements of dimensionals. As so, sweep that off. So pretty. And now remember, which one did we use? We used this circle in here. So now I'm going to find a slightly smaller circle to place. It's a shame that that bit didn't. We will fix that up. Yes, I'm happy with that. We're going to use a circle. Yay big. What colour? What colour, what colour, what colour? Because this one's going to go on a Whisper White card base. Circle in there. If you do it balmy blue or Whisper White. I'm going to go with Whisper White. Now I know that this circle is going to be cut there, but that won't matter because that will be the bit that gets cut off anyway. Perfect. And on this one, so move that out. Let's stick it down and then we can stamp. I was going to stamp, but then it'll be easier. Again, flip and trim it using the base of the Whisper White card front. And Thank You So Much will go in this one. Perfect. In Balmy Blue, just to keep it all simple. So tap, 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 tap. Trying to use the big part of the, I'm trying to use all part of my ink pad so that I'm not just picking up ink from one spot. Thank you so much. Better wipe before I land that into something. Ooh. And let's adhere that to the card front, card base. So it's just a top folding half a piece of A4 paper. And part of the snow, I don't know what even, Snowflake Wishes is part of a suite, but actually these aren't part of that suite, but I thought they would be fun to add. So these are adhesive backed, let's get the name right, adhesive backed snowflakes. Nothing astonishing there, really. But I'm going to put them all over the background. Here. Add a bit extra there to kind of finish off that circle. I'm seeing love hearts. Thank you so much. Oh, that one worked. Looks like I've got adhesive still there. So they come in two colors. It kind of, what does it say? Doesn't say. They do come in two colors. These ones are more white iridescent, and then these I think are balmy blue iridescent. I'm using the balmy blue ones, and preferably stick the snowflakes down to your card, not yourself. And it is pretty cool that they're adhesive backed. This one is there. Thank you for all the love. Really appreciate that. It's so beautiful. Basically, I'm just using these snowflakes to fill in the gaps. I think that's enough. So thank you so much for all that love. We will stamp inside. Let's finish off our second card, for which I have prepared a balmy blue card base. Just getting those dimensional backings out of the way. And this is the new in color. What's it called? Misty Moonlight. I thought that would go nicely. And then we'll put that, but that'll be sliced off a bit. And before we put that down, we're going to emboss this one. Because snowflakes are so awesome, there's a winter snow embossing folder as well. No, I did not buy the whole suite yet, but I'm almost there. The ribbon is fine, but that's for my team, so I'm not going to use that today. So, yep, this is very cute. Snowflake galore. Isn't that pretty? Pretty, pretty, pretty snowflakes. Oh, too thin. Never remember the sandwich. That's better. Feel the difference. Oh my goodness. That is so awesome. Trying to get the light to pick that up. Oh, so pretty. So, so pretty. So before I stick that to the card base, we're going to have this. Where do we want it? I always do it this side, but I'm trying to break from what I always do. Yes, I think there will be beautiful. So just using and to trim this one off, just to be a little bit more accurate, I guess you could say, I'm going to use the little mini paper trimmer, because I can line that up and just go, oh, not sure it likes this thickness, there, there. So just don't force it, just do slices and then, oh, so beautiful. Onto our base. It's always a good idea to use the liquid glue when using an embossing folder. Can I just point out, I know I've got glue on this, but the embossing folder looks good as a, not an emboss, but a deboss as well. You can use it either way. That is so cool. I wish I used that way. Too late. Next card. I feel like they're more predominant. Got a Whisper White insert, but we won't put that in until we stamp on it. Let's add some more snowflakes. Actually, we could add that in there as well. I think that'll be a good idea. Lift that one off, place it there. Let's add this little one. I feel like it needs it. It's too much of a gap there. Ah, that's a good tip, Cheryl. Cheryl Lee, sorry, I've been abbreviating your name. That's not very nice of me. Silver lightly across the top, yes. That would be lovely. I'm trying to keep the floating frame stuff the focus today. So again, No, that's outside the circle. The little glue dot stuck itself. We'll move it in. Let's place it back on. I am loving that these are adhesive backed, can I just say? Oh, even though they're attaching themselves to me, it's so much easier than waiting for the glue to dry. They're very similar to the Snowflake sequins, the loose ones, which are available in this catalogue again. So I should also mention, if you are in Australia and you don't have a current demonstrator, feel free to ask for a copy because I'll be sending them out this week. And I wanted to take some of these white ones and add them to kind of spread out the snowflake concept. I'll do 5. 2, 3, 4, and 5. So extend those snowflakes floating across. Now for the final touches, actually, do we want to add on one of these cards, we will add our die cut snowflake because it's left over. No point losing that. Beautiful. And I'll let that dry before I add. And on this one, let's add a little flurry of snowflakes. What you're doing is beautiful. That just crossed my mind when you held it up close. Oh, thank you, Cheryl E. I really appreciate that. It's wonderful to hear that you are enjoying it. Monica, I see your little love heart-eyed emoji. I don't know what that one's called. So let's kind of spread some snowflakes in there and add that to the inside. And I know I haven't closed the ink pad or removed that snowflakes because if you watch me quite regularly, you'll know what I like to say. No card is complete until you've got decoration on the inside, or stamping in this case, and on the envelope. So grabbing 2 Whisper White envelopes, and for this one, we're going to stamp the envelope flap only. I'm just bringing in some, just that printout, essentially. So this is how I stamp my envelope flaps. I sit it, the paper, so that I'm protecting the back of the envelope, and then over here so that I'm protecting my work surface. And we can stamp this flurry all over, just to tie it. Kind of ties into the embossing folder. And here, one more here, one more there. Perfect. That one is for this card because of the embossing folder and that repetitiveness. And then this one, we shall trim. Trimming from the rear gives you a better view of where the line is. I am loving all the love hearts today. Thank you. Maybe less chit-chatty, but you are certainly sharing the love, so thank you. And for this one, we're going to stamp one big snowflake on the front. So I've peeled off that from the Stamparatus. Yes, it fits. Got snowflakes attaching everywhere. And we'll do that on the front. Beautiful. So there we have it. My desk is messy, but I think there's been a lot of fun. And we got 2 cards out of all those snowflakes. Watching me create no time for chatting. That's all good. It's all good. However you'd like to watch, I'm absolutely perfect with that. I know that there are more people watching than commenting, and I am absolutely happy that you are watching and spending time with me. So those are our, what's it called? Snowflake wishes card. Oh, I was going to put a sentiment. I didn't put one on the front here because it kind of, where's that other one? Our friendship. That's the one. So I've created 2 friendship themed snowflake cards because I love the snow. My pleasure, Tanya. And I'm just going to, don't often stamp a sentiment on the inside, but this card I feel warrants it. Thank you, Monica. Thank you for the snowflake too. That's okay, Elizabeth. We did a floating frame snowflake cards today. So we got 2 cards out of the one, and I was inspired with the double circling and the layering from Tina. I printed out her samples. Are they stunning? Tina Gillespie. I think it's hard to read from the printout. But I love how that has turned out. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I hope that I've inspired you to spend some time being creative, whether it's paper crafting or knitting or crocheting or stitching, whatever it is that you enjoy doing. But take some time out for you. Maybe if you make a card, you can send it to someone to brighten their day. And don't forget, you can nominate someone to receive one of these cards. Yes, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.